Hi. So today is Wednesday, March 25th, and it's the opening of, tomorrow is supposed to be the opening day for Major League Baseball. So I have on my Red Sox jersey, but unfortunately, because we're on quarantine, there's not going to be any games. But if you turn on the TV, they're supposed to show a whole lot of really exciting games from other years. I did want to tell you that we've been working here at my house on a beautiful puzzle. It has 1,000 pieces. It's supposed to look like this when it's done, and we've gotten a lot of it. But now I'll just read you a story about a story or two here about baseball, since tomorrow was supposed to be opening day. So this one's called Just Like Josh Gibson. And Josh Gibson was a great baseball player. And so we want to read it just like Josh Gibson. I really like the pictures. You can tell they made them with chalk. And it looks like it took place a long time ago. Grandma says there's nothing like baseball. And this is how her story goes. Josh Gibson once hit a baseball in Pittsburgh so hard that it didn't come down. The next day, he was playing in Philadelphia, and the ball dropped out of the sky, right into a fielder's glove. And the umpire pointed at Josh and said, "You're out for yesterday in Pittsburgh." And that seems like kind of a wild story, but Josh Gibson really was a good player. And again, I really like how they did these pictures with chalk, if you can see that up close. Grandmama says her papa showed up on that same day, the day she was born, with a Louisville Slugger and a smile. He said his brand new baby would make baseballs fly, just like Josh Gibson. So Grandmama's papa threw balls to his baby girl in the early morning dew. And those summer days were like magic as the balls sailed away, gone. But girls back in the 1940s didn't play baseball. They weren't supposed to take the field with the boys or have batting dreams. So even when Grandmama got bigger, she still had to stand outside the fence and watch her cousin Danny and the Maple Grove All-Stars batting away. But every now and again, when the team was just practicing, they'd let Grandmama play too. And then Grandmama would step up to the plate, hit the ball, and watch it soar. Grandmama says Danny would imagine he was playing with the Dodgers. But she was always Josh Gibson, playing for the Grays, wearing the team colors and hitting away. Grandmama says she would play all day with everybody saying she could do it all. Hit, throw, and fly around the bases. But too bad she's a girl. Too bad she's a girl. Until 2 days, hot days after the 4th of July, Danny hurt his arm sliding into second. And there was only 8 people on the All-Star team. Everybody knows you need 9 to play baseball. That afternoon, the team looked to Grandmama, pink dress with a white bow, and Danny's baseball shoes. And Grandmama says, as she went to the plate, she remembered, baseball has always been early morning dew and sunlight. Hitting balls with her papa and standing behind the fence watching the boys play. The story goes, Grandmama hit the ball a mile that day, caught anything that was thrown, and did everything else just like Josh Gibson. And as Grandmama hands the ball to me, she says, "There's nothing like baseball, baby. And I couldn't help but love it, especially that one time I got to hear the cheers, hear all the cheers while I was stealing home. And there's a picture of her on the team. And that's the end of that story about a little girl that got to play baseball at a time when girls didn't get to play very much. And I got one more story for you. This one's called Clemente with an exclamation mark. And it's, of course, about one of our favorite baseball players, Roberto Clemente. My father's the president of the greatest fans of Roberto Clemente Club, Boogie Down Bronx chapter. Ask my father why he named me Clemente. Ask him why he thinks that the number 21 should be retired forever. And he'll start acting like he's a great debater. He'll take out his baseball card collection and put all his mint condition Clementes, and then he'll start calling Clemente, really calling him like he was trying to talk to the ghost of Roberto Clemente. Clemente, it's us, tu gente. Clemente, Prince of the Baseball Diamante. Cannon Arm Clemente. Puerto Rican Prince Clemente. Hall of Fame Clemente. My Uncle Junior, another big Clemente fan who wears his Pittsburgh Pirates cap with his Sunday church suits, if he was here, he would join my father and say, Clemente hit curveballs before they dropped. Hit fastballs that made a catcher's mitt pop. Had a glove like a spider's web dipped in gold. High ball hitter, sinker ball hitter, spitball hitter. Never swing at the first pitch kind of hitter. Who else got a hit in every single game of the World Series but Clemente? Then he points at me and he says, when your teacher takes attendance and she calls Clemente, you stand up and say, Presente. For Hero Day at school, I'm going to act like I'm Clemente because I know all the facts. I memorized all the stats. And I can tell you everything about his rookie season with the Brooklyn Dodgers, all the way to his last at-bat. He was born Roberto Walker Clemente on August 18th, 1934 in Barrio San Anton, Carolina, Puerto Rico. Roberto was the baby varón of Luisa and Melchor's 7 children. And by the time he learned to walk, he was throwing something, a can, a tomato, a rag ball, hitting bottle caps against a wall. And by the time he was 18, one scout said Clemente was the best athlete he had ever seen. 4 batting titles, a .317 lifetime average. He came up to bat 9,454 times. He got 3,000 hits, 440 doubles, 166 triples, 240 home runs, and this is the big one. He earned 12 Golden Gloves for his awesome fielding. And there's a statue in the Hall of Fame. Roberto Clemente was born to play this game. And just when you think you know all about Clemente, Mommy jumps in and reminds us that he was a good father and a good son, because right in the middle of celebrating the World Series, Clemente interrupted the broadcaster and said, before I say anything in English, I'd like to say something to my mother and father in Puerto Rico. And he said, en el día más grande de mi vida, para los nenes la bendición mía y que mis padres me echen la bendición. Which is on the most important day of my life, I give my blessing to my boys and ask that my parents give their blessing. And we definitely can't forget Clemente's last sacrifice fly. On New Year's Eve of 1972, Roberto Clemente got on an airplane and he was going to Nicaragua to help people who had lost their homes in an earthquake. He was taking supplies. Well, that plane never got across the ocean. It was too heavy. It had too many boxes of food and clothes, medicine and toys. The plane crashed into the water and Roberto disappeared. His wife, Vera, his 3 sons, Roberto Jr., Luis, Enrique, waited at El Morro, watching the waves for days and days, hoping that Roberto could come home. The whole island cried and cried for our hero, nuestro tesoro. Remember, Mommy says, there were days when Roberto wanted to quit, throw his glove away and go home, because some fans were sending him ugly letters and calling him nasty names, but he never gave up. Nunca abandonó su sueño. And they named bridges after him, and schools after him, and parks and pools after him. Because he knew that con respeto, con orgullo, with faith, with hope and pride, with belief in yourself, con valor, standing up for what's right, fighting against what's wrong, with love, with keep on strength, that anything is possible in this world. Even being one of the greatest baseball players that ever lived. And that, my love, Mommy says to me, hugging me until I'm dizzy, that is why we named you Clemente. And there's some interesting facts about Roberto Clemente in the back. So, thanks for listening to my stories, and we'll see you soon.